So my girlfriend has depression and anxiety. And some days I don't even know whether to say my girlfriend or not. Because there are times where she just says, I don't know why you want to be with me. I don't know what you see in me. And I want to step back and isolate. And that can be tough. Because within that same conversation, then we validate love for one another and kind of get back to a point where we're at least on common grounds as far as moving forward. Now, the thing about all of this is I've come to realize a few things. One, my patience is great. And I say that not because I'm always being tested by her, but I just realized everything else that I've gone through in life has actually built me up for this moment. The other thing is, I can't solve the problems for her. I can listen, I can be as empathetic as possible. But one of the things that I've done is try to offer less advice and just kind of let her talk. And so I listen, which brings me to the next one. I kind of touched on it, that I don't take things personally. Yeah, sometimes, it can be like, wow, that's what was said. But then at the same time, I realize that this is something bigger than just this person. And so it makes it easy for me to be able to, in turn, say, no, these things aren't you. And therefore, the focus goes back to her with validation rather than me potentially making it about myself, talking about how come you don't this, and that for me. But that's the learning curve. And that's a really cool place to be. I think I got here through having utilized the ability to work in the public sector, just helping the community. Seeing kids in lower income schools when I'd go visit, volunteering at battered women's shelters, and helping the homeless. You just have a different level of empathy. And it doesn't mean that I'm a better human being than other people, I should say, but it has made me a better person than I was before. And so when she says things like, I'm a bad person, I don't know why you want to be with me, all this and that, I'm able just to calmly and coolly say that, look, I'm built for this and we deserve each other. It's not for everybody. And she's lost some friends and probably some family members due to people just being exhausted. Now, I am new to the situation, but I feel incredibly comfortable. We've had a lot of amazing, deep conversations. And so when this has come about in these kind of waves, then I just recognize and point it out to her that we just had great conversations last week or things like that. So we have a point and a place where I'm able to kind of take a lead and just illustrate some things while she's, kind of in this emotion that she calls drowning. And probably the most poignant thing and the most important thing that I would say for anybody who is hearing this, or you probably know already if you deal with somebody who has any of these diagnoses, these issues, is to recognize when they need more help than just listening. Pay attention to cues, and do your own homework if you're going to allow yourself to be involved with somebody, family member, friend, intimate partner, any of those things. Kind of do your homework. And it's the same way that I said to her that I asked her, would you leave me if I had diabetes and my health was bad? She said, no. I said, then I wouldn't leave you in this circumstance. They're different, but it's also the same, and it speaks to what we actually feel about each other at the core. And that's where I really tap into a lot of things. How do we feel at the core? Not just in the moment when emotions are high or low, but at any given time, how do we feel about each other at the core? And that's kind of what corrects the ship. That's what gets us back to the center, is that if there's something shared mutually, that's perfect. Now, if there's lying or deception, things like that, that's a different conversation. But from what I can tell, that's not what depression does. I think it's more wanting to isolate, withdraw from activities, and not be as energetically engaged as one might have been before. But to my point with diabetes, you could have that same problem if your health was failing in that area as well. So it's all in what do we want from ourselves, our partners, and relationships. What are we willing to accept? Darkness? No. Not darkness. We are in the light. And this is where I speak to those things quite a bit. And yes, it can be what I tell her is her levels of verbal ninjutsu. And that can just come with any discussion, things like that. But guys, even if you're dealing with somebody who's not struggling with these issues, make sure you let them know that they are valued. Make sure that you understand the efforts that they go through, whether if they make something, cook something, if they're driving to see you and it's a bit of a distance, if they're staying up a little later. Like I work nights, so sometimes my schedule can be, offsetting. So just make sure that you're letting people know that their efforts are being actually recognized and appreciated. It's a very important step. I mean, it makes us all feel good. And the one thing this entire experience has done has made me really realize that I can vocalize more and share my appreciation for what somebody's going through and what they're doing for me. Now, is this relationship guaranteed? Of course not, but whose is? But the point is, moving forward, it's definitely going to make me a stronger partner, not only to somebody else, but it's going to make me a stronger person internally. So when I arrive to the next stage of this relationship or a new one, I have a better understanding of who I can be and what I expect as well from myself. Now, there's always the pairing of people, and she's an amazing person. So it makes it easy to be honest, transparent, and really share and have these really great conversations, even in bouts of depression. So here I am, learning something new that I'm extremely grateful for, because that's life and growing. The other thing is to continue to study so I can better understand this, not just for this relationship, but just learning life lessons in general. Maybe I can pass it on to somebody else who ultimately might be dealing with it themselves. Same way, if I had diabetes, maybe she would study up on that as well so she would know what to do if something happened. It's just called looking out for each other. And when you care, you do that. These are just my little thoughts, but what's your ace up the sleeve? Advice, comment, experience. Mental health and behavioral health are not easy topics to address, but in today's society, there's a lot more attention being given to it, and that's a good thing. And the one thing that I realized for myself, what it's done, is allowed me to have a greater level of patience for people in an anxious state or in a crying state or in a depressed state. And a lot of that just comes with wisdom. So leave your thoughts in the comments, even some supportive words. Maybe she'll read it. And as always, subscriptions are free. And in this financial climate, free is a good thing. Pass it on to your friends and family. Click the like and subscribe. And leave some comments so we can talk. And as always, I hope this finds everybody in your total place of mind, body, and soul in total health and fitness. Peace, love, unity, solidarity. Oh, and I'm doing just fine, guys. I'm not reaping anything heavy from being in this relationship. It actually makes me happy.